Today is Saturday, August 13th, 2022. Last week I was talking about my medication and its effects. I have been on 10 milligrams of trintellix for depression and anxiety and 12.5 milligrams of the stimulant mydayis for inattentive ADHD. I also have cerebral palsy. I have major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and inattentive ADHD. So a couple days ago, I met with my psychiatrist, and I asked her if we could increase the dose of my the stimulant medication, mydayis, from 12.5, and then she increased it to 25 milligrams. So I started that about 2 days ago, I want to say, or I don't know if this is the second or the third day. But yeah, so I had been on the 12.5 milligrams of mydayis for over 3 months now, so I thought it would be safe to increase the dose and see if that would provide some benefit. But I have been feeling nauseous, so I took my medication this morning and I took it with breakfast, and I feel nauseous. I'm hoping that it's just temporary. I have mentioned this in the past, but I tend to be very sensitive to medication, which is why I tend to start off and stick with very low doses. So I don't know if it just the higher dose doesn't sit well with me. If the nausea keeps up, I may just go back down to the 12.5 milligrams instead of sticking with the 25 milligrams of the mydayis. I don't know for sure if that's what's causing the nausea, but that's really the only thing that's changed. So I'm assuming it might be a side effect of me increasing the dose. I wanted to talk about a little bit for those who are following my grad school journey. You know that I got into graduate school for speech and language pathology, which is what I'm going to school for. I got my bachelor's degree back in May. And in order to become a speech and language pathologist or a speech therapist, you do have to get a master's degree. So I went through the whole grad school application. I applied to 6 schools. I was rejected from 4 schools because the application process to get into SLP grad school is very, very competitive. It has been compared to similar to getting into medical school. So I got into 2 of the universities, and I decided for the part-time online program, which I will be starting uh, in about 10, 11 days. On the 25th of August is my first day of fall semester of graduate school. And my ADHD was really about to cost me my spot in this graduate program, because even though I had already been admitted, they sent us a list of things that they needed us to do and turn in over the summer before August 1st, because my admission was conditional. Everyone's admission to the program was conditional upon completion of that list of materials that we had to turn in. So the list included we had to get CPR certified. So we had to take a CPR course and pass it and get certified. And the certification is good for 2 years. We had to get a negative TB test. We had to get a medical clearance from our doctor. We had to get a physical done. We had to get fingerprinting done so we could get a background check and get cleared for that. And we also had to get a clearance from the California Teachers Credential Program, among other things. I think it was well over 10 or 15 to-do things that we had to do from the list. And a lot of these things take time, right? Like getting fingerprinted and for the background check to come back in, and taking the CPR course and getting certified. So these are all things that we were supposed to turn in by August 1st. And they told us about it when we first got admitted. So they told us about it back in May. So realistically, we had about 3 months to get all these things done, which is plenty of time. But for someone like me with ADHD, right, we do that thing where we procrastinate, where we have time blindness, which is we don't realize how much time we have, and time just flies by. We think we have more time than we do, so we don't get things done. We are serial procrastinators, right? That's one of the main issues with ADHD. Um, And so I went in and I got the medical clearance. I got my physical done. Um, like in May, like when they first told us about the to-do list. And after that, I just let June and July pass me by without getting anything else done on the to-do list. And next thing you know, it's like July 30th, and the program's director is emailing me and telling me we're still missing a bunch of documents and a bunch of stuff from the list we sent you. And if we don't have those by August 1st, you will be dismissed from the program. And so, of course, it's the consequences of my ADHD coming back to bite me in the butt, right? My executive dysfunction. So I went into hyperfocus mode and I filled out my emergency contact information. I made an appointment for the CPR certification test for the next day. I took the online course. I basically went into super hyperfocus mode and did that thing where you know that you're doing things last minute, so you get that rush of adrenaline and focus so that you can get things done. And sometimes it seems like, you know, us neurodivergent people or people with ADHD, like that's the only way that we can work sometimes. I wish that I had just had a motivation button that I could just push and kind of tell myself, you need to get this done now, or do things in small chunks so that they don't pile up and stress you out at the last minute. But unfortunately, our brain just does not work like that, and I uh, sometimes have to work in a panic induced mode to be able to get things done. And it really sucks, but that's just the way it is. But thankfully, I was able to get everything done on time. I turned in my CPR, I took the CPR certification test August 31st, which I was really nervous about the hands on skills part because I met with the instructor and she would, tell us, okay, Uh, we're going to do CPR on a of course they were dolls, they weren't actually actual people. We're going to do CPR on a baby, we're going to do CPR on a grown person. And I tend to not be very good with hands on things like that, and I thought that I was not going to do well, and I did struggle a little bit, but I ended up passing my certification uh, August 31st, and I got my CPR card by email the following day, which was August 1st. I emailed the director and I let her know on August 31st. I have submitted every single document except for the CPR card. And I already took the test and I've passed, and I'm just waiting for the actual card to come in to be sent through my email. And then she said, oh, okay, that's fine. Just let me know as soon as you have the CPR card, send it over, and I'll get you cleared. And I got the card on August 1st. I sent it over. So that was like, phew, right? Like I barely made the deadline. And I thought I was doing, like I was beating myself up, right? Because I was like, oh, there you are again, getting things done last minute when you should have, you had 3 months to do all this. But actually, I was not the only person from my cohort who got things done at the last minute. There were at least three other people who, because we're like in a group chat together, there were at least three other people talking about how they hadn't done the background check, how their fingerprints hadn't cleared yet. So at least I know that I wasn't the only one struggling. And then this one uh, girl who's also in my cohort, I don't know her in person because it is an online class. So, but we have each other's phone number and we've been texting back and forth. And she actually did not get her clearance and fingerprinting done from the Teacher's Credential of California, which was one of the main things that she had to get done. And she uh, said she literally got an email from the program's director telling her that she had been dropped from the program. And my heart sank. I felt so bad for her because what if she also struggles with executive dysfunction, or she has ADHD and she doesn't know about it? Right? Because when you know that your executive dysfunction comes from this condition that you have, the ADHD, you're able to be more compassionate with yourself. You're able to ask for accommodations. You're able to understand that it's not really your fault. Whereas before I knew that I had ADHD, I was just constantly beating myself up and putting myself down and asking myself, why am I like this? What the hell is wrong with me? But thankfully, she got a second chance. She was able to submit all her documents, and uh, even though they had initially dropped her from all the classes, the director decided to let her back in the program. So it all worked out. But um, it just goes to show you that the executive dysfunction that comes along with ADHD, the serial procrastinating and not being able to focus and work on things when you know you're supposed to, it really can put a big stress on your life. And I can definitely see how that can lead to anxiety. And that's why so many people with these conditions like ADHD also have comorbid conditions like anxiety and depression, because they develop over time, right? Um, well, anyway, that is that. So I'm thankful I was able to turn everything in. I'm still in the program. I'll be starting in about 11 or 12 days. So we'll see how that goes. It's part time, and the reason why I chose this online part time program over the full time in person program was because I know how much I struggle with ADHD, and I feel that a part-time program will be going much lower than a full-time program, and hopefully I'll be able to keep up and cope with everything, and just be able to keep up with the work and still work part-time and make time for my son. That's the plan anyway. Um, yeah, well, that's it for now. I had a someone comment on one of my videos that I made, asking if I could, or how I would compare my stimulant medication to non-stimulant medication, because I've taken non-stimulant medication in the past also for ADHD. I tried Strattera and Wellbutrin, and then I've tried a couple stimulant medications, including Ritalin and mydayis, which is the one that I'm on right now. So I think if I don't get to that video today, I'm hoping to get to it sometime this week, where I will be comparing the stimulant medication to the non-stimulant medication and how it worked for me. So that's the plan. Anyway, that's it for now. And yeah, see you guys later.